Echo Valley, new thriller out on Apple TV Plus, directed by Michael Pearce, who previously made Beast and Encounter. This stars Julianne Moore, Sydney Sweeney, Domhnall Gleeson, and Fiona Shaw. Julianne Moore plays Kate, a middle-aged woman who runs a sort of failing stables business. She's trying to make ends meet while also grieving the recent loss of her wife in a tragic accident. But her biggest problem may be her daughter, played by Sydney Sweeney, who is a drug addict, repeatedly showing up at her doorstep, promising change and begging for money, and then inevitably disappearing again to piss it all away. When one night she shows up again, this time drenched in rain and blood, things take a darker turn and Kate has to figure out how far she's willing to go for her daughter. So I think this was an okay thriller which starts off a little bit middling but then gets more interesting the farther it goes. And also, the more I think about the movie, the more I like it. The performances are solid. Julianne Moore, excellent as always. Domhnall Gleeson plays a very good sleazebag. And Sydney Sweeney is okay, although she doesn't really have a lot of heavy lifting to do. In terms of the story, I think it really kicks into gear after a certain plot twist midway through, which is good because it makes sense and it retroactively makes some previously strange elements of the story suddenly make total and absolute sense. And then the reveal at the climax of the film was also very satisfying in how elegantly it manages to tie everything up. And thematically, I think this is a movie that on the one hand explores the dangers of being exploited by a person you love, of not drawing hard lines and sacrificing too much for people who do not appreciate it in the end. But it's also about how being naive and stupid for the people you love doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be equally exploited by others. That people might see that weakness and try to exploit it, but it won't work because without that sort of blind spot towards a loved one, you might actually be a smart, capable, resourceful, and sort of relentless person. And then, of course, after the entire story is over, you think to yourself, okay, surely Kate is now a changed person, with which the final shot of the film makes you question all over again. Has she learned anything? Does she still have a blind spot for Claire, or will things change? Which the film leaves deliberately open for interpretation, which is also something I enjoy. So yeah, I liked it more than not. I think it's an okay thriller with some interesting themes. Nothing too flashy, but competent at what it sets out to do.